My fashion design journey started 10 years ago when I switched my career from algorithmic stock trading to fashion. From the get-go, I wanted to do things differently. I wanted to make a difference. I focused on sustainability. I wanted to work directly with artisans in my home country of Pakistan. So I started traveling there a lot to scout factories and artisanal communities. And when I was there, I noticed for the first time plastic waste because I was going to smaller communities and plastic waste was a problem. A lot of waterways were clogged with plastic. So it started turning wheels in my head. What could I do with fashion to make a difference? Here in the US and Canada, we're fortunate because we have recycling facilities. Right next to our regular trash can, there's usually a blue can that has recycle on it. And a lot of us don't think too much about what happens to waste beyond that point. We put our waste in the recycle can and our duty's done, but we don't know what happens after that point. I too was oblivious till a few years ago I read a case of where Canada had shipped 105 containers of waste to be recycled to the Philippines all the way across the Pacific. That's a long way. And once those containers arrived in the Philippines and they opened them up, they realized it was mislabeled unrecyclable household waste. So a legal battle started between Canada and the Philippines, quite embarrassing. But after a couple years, in 2019, finally the Philippines won. They didn't want the waste. And 69 of those containers were shipped back to Canada. Again, all the way across the Pacific. The carbon footprint of that alone gets me. So it intensified my search for how to use fashion to make a difference, to tackle waste. Now, one of the miracle fibers in the apparel industry, and a lot of us are wearing it right now, is polyester. Interesting thing about polyester is that it is sourced from the most common type of plastic, polyethylene triethylamate, or simply PET. 50% of the clothing that's out there contains polyester. So half of us are wearing polyester-based clothing. Greenpeace estimates that by the year 2030, the amount of polyester that is going to be consumed by the apparel industry, that's what, 7 years from now, is going to be double the amount we're using today. So that is a lot of plastic we're wearing and we're consuming. Here's the interesting thing with polyester though. The plastic waste can be recycled to make polyester, and also polyester in discarded clothing can be used to make polyester. Here's the process of how do you get polyester from plastic waste. So the plastic waste is sorted. Clear plastic waste is selected for polyester production. And the reason for that is it doesn't have dyes in it. So essentially you can dye it once the final product is made into any color of your choice. But the plastic waste that is sorted, rinsed and washed to get rid of impurities is then crushed into plastic pellets. Those pellets are then dried to get rid of any moisture, and then it's molten on heat to turn into a liquid. That liquid is then fed through tiny pipes to turn into filaments, and those filaments are then shredded into fleece, and that fleece is then turned into or spun into polyester thread. And then beyond that point, you combine other fabrics, other fiber in there, like cotton or silk, and you get your blended fabrics that we all wear. So when I realized that we could start tackling waste, or at least directing some plastic waste into creating fresh garments that people could wear, we could keep this plastic waste out of landfills. I found a factory in China that started doing recycled polyester years ago, and they're experts of creating recycled polyester-based fabrics. And we together founded a fabric called Suede. So because I'm a leather jacket designer, I wanted some product that would look like leather. So Suede looks like suede. It's machine washable. It's stretchable. And the best of all, it uses recycled polyester. So for 3 years now, in addition to the general leather jackets that I make for my company, we also produce an Suede collection. And it's done great because we feel good we're putting out something that's actually helping tackle a problem at Banoimi. There's a lot of interest in the industry in general right now to make fashion more sustainable. And one great organization that's doing a lot of work is called TEDxFarmingdale. TEDxFarmingdale has done a series of challenges with major apparel manufacturers, including the current one, which is the 2025 Recycled Polyester Challenge. And the 2025 Recycled Polyester Challenge hopes to encourage major apparel manufacturers to at least commit to using 45% recycled polyester in their designs. Now, what does that mean? That'll amount to 17.1 million metric tons of plastic waste that is going to be converted into recycled polyester that we're all going to wear. So that is huge. But recycled polyester is not the silver bullet that is going to solve our plastic problem. And there are a few reasons for that. I explained the process of how we go from plastic to polyester. It's an energy-intensive process. It uses less energy than fresh polyester or virgin polyester, but it still uses more energy than other sustainable fibers like hemp or wool. Also, with recycled polyester, the recycling process, the more you recycle, the quality of the polyester you get degrades. So essentially, you need to bring in more fresh polyester to combine with recycled polyester so that you can still continue getting good quality polyester. And the issue with polyester-based clothing is that as we wear it or wash it, it causes microplastic pollution. Every time it's in the washer, some of the fibers escape into the waterways and it causes microplastic pollution. So it's something to think about because we all wear stretchy clothes, yoga wear, so it's important to know that. So what's the solution? The real solution would be to move away from plastic-based fibers and limit the use of those fibers. But till we do that, recycled polyester is a great way to reduce plastic waste ending up in landfills or waterways. I was recently watching a documentary on Business Insider, and it was about a company that out of the Netherlands called the Fruit Leather, and that's what they make, fruit leather. They've come up with a mango leather. It's a vegan leather that is still under development. It's not commercially viable yet, and it's not durable, but still it's a step in the right direction. And what they're doing is they're using discarded mangoes from grocery stores and making this leather-like material. And since we're on the subject of vegan leather, and I get these questions a lot because I do design with genuine leather, which one's better? People ask vegan versus genuine. There's a huge debate on that. So what proponents of vegan leather correctly point out is that vegan leather is cruelty-free. No animals are killed in the production of vegan leather. Understood. However, what we also miss is majority of the vegan leather that is used out there is actually plastic-based. It does not biodegrade. It will exist in the environment for hundreds of years, and it breaks down into microplastics. So although it's a great slogan, from the perspective of waste, it is exacerbating the plastic waste problem. Now let's talk about plant-based leathers, just like the vegan leather I talked about that was mango-based. There's another leather that's the talk in the fashion circles, pineapple leather. And I researched on pineapple leather. It sounds great. But pineapple leather does not biodegrade in the environment, in the natural environment. It needs special industrial conditions to biodegrade, and then it only partially biodegrades. So does that mean should we all buy genuine leather? Not necessarily, because again, not all genuine leather is the same. Genuine leather that is sourced from exotic animals killed solely for the purpose of harvesting their hides does seem cruel and excessive. But genuine leather, that is a byproduct of the food industry, where the animals were used for food, and you have the hides as a byproduct, might be more sustainable from the perspective of reducing waste. And also with tanning, there's technology now to make it more sustainable, to make the chemicals more earth-friendly. So that's something to note. And in general, the longevity of genuine leather products, they last you longer than vegan leather products. This, however, will no longer be true once truly plant-based vegan leather that is naturally biodegradable becomes available. As a fashion designer and as a fashion manufacturing consultant, I realized some time ago that fashion can be a very important force of change. It can change attitudes and it can spread awareness. Us as consumers of fashion, we have a responsibility because through our buying habits in this age of social media, we can really tell fashion businesses and apparel industry out there of wanting sustainable products. Through our buying decisions, we can direct the trajectory of the fashion industry. I'm going to leave you with some tips today, 5 tips, to help catalyze the sustainable fashion revolution. Number 1, when you go out to shop, think for a minute, do you really need this piece of clothing or shoe or bag? Number 2, research the company that you're supporting. See how the products are made, where are they made, how are they made. Their values should align with your values. Number 3, read labels and tags. See how what the product contains, what it's made out of, and where it's made. 4, look into your wardrobe. Maybe style things differently. Mix old with new. That would give your products or your clothing more life. And 5, invest in products that are long-lasting. Quality versus quantity. I wear this jacket, I've worn this maybe 10 years now. So it's just invest in good pieces and then combine them with other pieces so that you can be more conscious and more sustainable. Fashion has its origins in humanity's need for protecting itself from the elements. Over the millennia, fashion has become an important part of the human creative story. I believe that now fashion can play a vital role in helping our planet fight the menace of plastic waste. Thank you.